Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
The Supreme Court's Maratha quota verdict had an unexpected outcome. It basically took away the power of the states to declare backward classes, that is, socially and educationally backward classes, for grant of quotas in jobs and admissions. And it is the Modi government that has now approached the Supreme Court with a review petition asking the court to give the states their powers back. So in today's KYC episode, I will take you through the Maratha quota verdict, what the court said, and finally explain to you how this unexpected situation arose in the first place. Now we know that the entire controversy arose with the Maharashtra government's attempt to declare the Maratha community as a socially and educationally backward class in the state. And the law in question, that is the Maharashtra State Reservation for Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act 2018, it was the outcome of a prolonged political campaign by the numerically significant and politically dominant Maratha community in Maharashtra. At least 3 national commissions and 3 state commissions had in the past rejected their demand for reservations. Now, the 2018 law was finally passed based on a report submitted by the Maharashtra State Backward Class Commission under the chairmanship of retired Judge Justice N.G. Gaikwad. The law recognized Marathas as a backward class and also provided them with reservation of 16% in educational institutions and in public services. Naturally, petitions against the quota were filed right away. The Bombay High Court upheld the law in June 2019, but it just made one change. It reduced the quantum of the quota from 16% to 12% in education and 13% in jobs, which was the original recommendation that was actually made by the Gaikwad Commission. Now, the Maharashtra law also increased the total reservations to over 50%. In fact, according to the Bombay High Court judgment, which made those calculations, the final reservation after adding the 12 and 13% quota increased the total reservation in educational institutions to 64% and in government jobs to 65% in the state, as you can see on your screens right now. Now, the High Court judgment was challenged in the Supreme Court on various grounds. The judgment, passed by a 5-judge bench earlier this month, answered 6 questions of law in total on the issue. All the judges unanimously agreed on 3 of those issues, while the verdict was split 3:2 on the other 3, the last 3 issues. So like I mentioned, the Maratha quota violated the 50% ceiling on quota. Who had put the quota in the first place, you ask? It was actually a 9-judge Supreme Court bench in the Indra Sawhney judgment in 1992 that had said that reservation must be limited to 50% to ensure efficiency in administration. This 50% limit, it had said, is to apply unless there are exceptional circumstances. Now, all the 5 Supreme Court judges in the Maratha quota case agreed that Indra Sawhney judgment does not need to be revisited. Basically, that the 50% ceiling stays, saying that reservation beyond 50% will create a society, and I quote, based on caste rule. It then ruled, that is the 5-judge bench then ruled, that the reasons given by the Gaikwad Commission to breach this 50% limit for Marathas was not sufficient. The court in fact opined that Marathas are in the mainstream of national life and that it is not even disputed that Marathas are politically dominant caste. So these were the issues on which all the judges unanimously agreed on. The split happened on the court's interpretation of the Constitution 102nd Amendment Act 2018, which basically inserted Articles 338B and 342A in the Constitution. Now, this amendment gave constitutional status to the National Commission for Backward Classes, meaning it was recognized by the Constitution now. Up until then, the Commission was a statutory body formed under the National Commission for Backward Classes Act 1993. Article 338B deals with the structure, duties and powers of the Commission, and Article 342A gives the President the power to notify socially and educationally backward classes, that is SEBCs, for any state or union territory, and it also gives the power of altering the central SEBC list to the Parliament. Now, please understand how the system actually worked up until now, up until the amendment as well as the Supreme Court judgment. In case of reservation for backward classes up until now, or SEBCs, there is a central list enacted under the National Backward Classes Commission Act 1993 for central government jobs and separate state lists for quota in state government jobs and educational institutions. So in other words, within the state there were two SEBC lists, two backward class lists, one for central government jobs and admissions and another for state government jobs and admissions. So central government made one list, state government made another list. But now 3 of the 5 judges were of the view that only the president will have the power to identify the backward classes in a state or a union territory. That's how the system now changes. Now, interestingly, during the hearing, Attorney General K.K. Venugopal, who was appearing for the central government, submitted that intention of this amendment was not to take away the state's powers. He argued that the state governments will still have their separate list of SEBCs for providing reservations in state government jobs and education, whereas Parliament will only make the central list of SEBCs which would apply for central government jobs and universities. So here there was a centre saying that the Parliament did not intend to take away the powers of the state governments with its constitutional amendment. The court also in fact referred to the parliamentary debates on this amendment as well as the report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on it. So this report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee also had a clarification from the relevant ministry that the amendment actually does not interfere with the powers of the state governments to identify the SEBCs, that is the socially and educationally backward classes. The clarification said that the existing powers of the State Backward Classes Commissions would continue to be there even after the passage of the amendment. But Justice Ravindra Bhatt, with whom Justices L. Nageshwar Rao and Hemant Gupta agreed on, they formed the majority on these last 3 issues like I mentioned, they did not agree with this and just interpreted the text of the amendment instead. So what the majority in this case actually did was to virtually replicate the constitutional model that is currently followed for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So for SCs and ST quotas, the president notifies these communities in a single list annexed to the constitution and the powers to amend it are vested with the parliament. So the court then said that after this amendment, after the 102nd amendment, there will now be only one list of socially and educationally backward classes as well, which may be issued by the president, but it clarified that the other powers on the extent of reservations or the kind of benefits, the quantum of scholarships or the number of schools which are to be specifically provided for reservations or any other welfare scheme whatsoever under Article 15.4 also rests with the state governments. Article 15.4, like I've told you before, allows the state to create special arrangements for promoting the interests and welfare of socially and educational backward classes as well as SCs and STs. So as per the judgment now, the Maratha quota judgment, the president is to notify the SEBC list for various states and union territories after consulting with the commission set up under Article 338B. So there won't be 2 lists, state and central lists like earlier for every states and union territories. And then the state governments can fine-tune the benefits, extent of reservations, etc. for these SEBCs like I mentioned earlier. Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt also noted that while it has been 2 years since the constitutional amendment, the central government has not notified a list under the newly added provision. So the court therefore held that the president should expeditiously publish a list of SEBCs for different states and union territories under Article 342A after consulting with the commission, effectively laying the groundwork for a new SEBC backward class list for all states and union territories to be notified by the president and consolidated into one single list notified under Article 342A. Only till the time this is done that the SEBC's list made by the states would continue to hold field. That is what the court said. So this direction, it said, was being issued under Article 142 of the Constitution, which allows orders necessary for doing complete justice. So the court said this is being done so that there isn't a vacuum that is left behind. And this is the interpretation of the 102nd Constitutional Amendment that has now been challenged by the central government in the Supreme Court through the review petition. Critics have also since pointed out that the question here is who is backward, and that is an important one. The answer, they've said, can only be found with the participation of the states. They've also pointed out that the Supreme Court did not necessarily have to even reach this ruling, as it could have just stopped at interpreting whether Marathas are a backward class and whether that quota could have breached the 50% limit. And on top of this is the fact that the central government itself made assertive submissions that the amendment did not in fact intend to take away the powers of the states. Now, the interpretation of the amendment, of course, may impinge on the power of the states to provide reservation benefits after separately identifying backward classes, especially at a time when several dominant communities such as Jats, Patels, and Gujars are demanding separate quotas for themselves in different states. So now the Supreme Court's verdict in the review petition will have to be looked out for, and it will authoritatively decide on how classes will be declared as backward classes. This is Apurva Mandhani for The Print. Do follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more such videos.